Welcome to the Jamsters Archive. Today, I'm going to put all of the games that I've ever made into a tier list. However, these games are games that I've made in the past, not current projects. So if you want to see more on that, or if you want to see me make videos on some of these games in more detail, be sure to let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so the first game we have on our list is Voyager. Now, for Voyager, I think it's pretty good for what it has. It's certainly cinematic. However, there's not really much gameplay. Right now, all we have is just basically a cinematic kind of game. It's very linear. And I think my plan was to add some types of like Five Nights at Freddy's elements and such, which I think could have been okay. I just really wanted another underwater sort of horror game, sort of like Iron Lung, but not like Iron Lung if it was Five Nights at Freddy's, I guess. I don't know. And I know I like the art that I had for it, but personally, I think it's somewhere between C and D tier. I'm gonna go C tier just for the art, because I liked some of the stuff I was able to do and how it had sound effects and everything, little AI voice assistant. And I made that before AI started going crazy, just so you know.
Assistant David, please begin scanning.
Alright, next up we have Five Nights at Biden's. Now, this is an actual Five Nights at Freddy's game, and it involved, well, Biden's political warehouse, as the phone guy calls it.
Welcome to Biden's political warehouse.
Now, personally, I was pretty proud of myself for this project. I made a really good looking and working camera system that I was really proud of. And while I didn't have Joe Biden or any other political people, I did have Steve Harvey, and his mechanics were very unique, which I was just very proud of.
Got Steve Harvey now, and yeah, I know we don't have Biden yet, but we're trying.
To pay some
we're gonna
bills.
get him.
Which one would sell
So
for
for
the
Steve
highest
Harvey, if you look around, I think on camera 7.
So, honestly, while it only has 2 nights, I think Five Nights at Joe Biden's might, I wouldn't say A tier, but definitely high B tier, because it even has a custom night that I'm also pretty proud of. Okay, now is The Pit. This is, again, an older project, like Voyager. Well, one of my oldest, really. The Pit was, I had a very big plan for The Pit. I was planning for this big roguelike game with like a 1-bit sort of style to where it wasn't anything like too crazy on visuals, but it still looked good. And I remember struggling so much on just making like the attack animations for the main character, because at this point I was not good with animating at all. And I think this was one of my first projects I did without any tutorials. And I'm pretty proud of how I did, although I did have to use a tutorial for like the enemies. So I'm not too proud of using tutorials. And I honestly think I do like some of the stuff, like how the enemies have a health bar and everything, how there's a bat you can pick up, stuff like that. The enemy tracking, I would be proud of, but simply because I did not make it myself, it is going into D tier. I made everything other than the enemy tracking, and for that, it's going in D tier. Okay, next is The Last Mage. This is probably my best game. However, I followed a tutorial by Sarah Spalding for it, for like the entire process. However, by the time I reached making like a second world, I made all of that entirely myself. That I was pretty proud of. And of course I had to do the level design myself. I added my own sort of things. I added like a big boss. Although I will admit the boss was very simple, but that's okay. Honestly, if we're going by how good it is, I think it would be probably like an A tier. Maybe S, but I wouldn't push it. But I think The Last Mage, I think it goes in A tier. I'm not proud of it because I had to use a tutorial, but I'm still proud with how I did. Next is Shardstorm. This, I was pretty proud of myself for because I made a automatically, just like a dungeon generation, basically. It was pretty simple. And I also made a system completely by myself where enemies would, notice you and try to follow you, stuff like that. I was pretty proud of myself for it. And I even made, this whole thing of dynamite that you could use to blow up surrounding things. I liked it. And I don't know what happened to it. I don't know why I stopped working on it. But I did. I think I just didn't really know where to go after I had made the generating dungeon sort of thing. It was more of a cave. I'd say it has potential, but I'd say right now it's maybe a very high D or a low C. Well, it had some actual gameplay because you could fight enemies, but I'd say it's probably better than Voyager. Better than Voyager. Now next, this is a project I am very proud of. The Sam Dating Simulator. I'm gonna have to explain the story on this one. Basically, I did a game jam with the same guys that I did a game jam. Well, no, I did a game jam with Roboberman and JC Software. You guys don't know JC Software yet, but Roboberman has been on my channel. He was there for the 4-hour horror game jam. And this game was another game jam we did. And oh my goodness, it was perfect. We had 2 wheels spun for genre and theme, just like the last game jam video I did. And it landed on my brother Sam and a dating sim, which is just perfect. And I kid you not, no tutorials, and I figured out so much. I figured out saving and loading, achievements, actual text-based dialogue that would scroll across the screen. It was perfect, and I was so proud of it. Honestly, S tier. That is an S tier game. It is amazing. Now, hang on, I have to go blow my nose. Next up is Gunmen. This is a project I was also very proud of myself for. Again, I didn't use any tutorials, and I thought it was a really good project. I was pretty proud of myself. It took me a little while, and I also had a very big plan for this one too. This one was actually going to be the newer version of the Pit. I thought to myself that maybe a top-down style for the Pit wouldn't really work out, and I went more for the 2-dimensional, scroller look. And I was very proud of myself for it. The only thing I'm not too proud of is I had to use a template for the main player character, and then I just, sort of drew over it, did my own stuff with it, and I'm not too proud of that. I'm not too proud of using a template. However, some animations I had to do fully on... Well, no, a good amount of the animations I had to do fully on my own. A lot of them were my own, so actually... Okay. The main player character, I had to use a template, drew over it, and yeah. But basically, everything else was all of my doing. A lot of the animations were also my doing, and I was very proud of myself for this project. I'd say this is... Honestly, I think this isn't... I think I might re-rank Joe Biden's to A tier, because this was actually a very impressive project for me. I think we're going to have to re-rank that. Alright, next up is Gnome Game. This one was another game jam I did with JC Software and Roboberman, and I actually have a video on that is really close to being done, I just have to sort through footage. And yeah, I've been cooking up that video for a very long time now. So I'll probably release that sometime soon, don't worry. And for this game, it was definitely pretty unique. I thought I did pretty well. I'd say this one's a B tier. That's a B tier for sure. It's not the best, but it's not the worst, and I'm still kind of proud of it to this day. Now, next up is Frog Forge. This one, I'm immediately putting an S. I am so proud of myself for how I did Frog Forge. All of the assets were made entirely by me, all of the code written just by myself. I am so gosh darn proud of Frog Forge. There's a demo for it available on my page on itch, and it's certainly something. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue Frog Forge because I have a bunch of other projects lined up that I'm also very proud of. But for what I did in Frog Forge, it was really impressive. I basically made it to where you could make your fully own customizable blades and little things of equipment. There's still a lot of kinks I'd have to work out, but I am still very, very proud of what I did for Frog Forge. So I'm gonna have to give it an S. Now next up is I think it was called Firestorm or something. I can't remember, but I think it was called Firestorm. This game right now is more of a little tech demo. I wanted to try making the game your only move is hustle, but into more of a 2D fighter, but more of a PvE. And I do like the concept of where I was going with this, and where I got was kind of impressive because I made a fully working skill tree. Well, not really. There was only one thing you could do, which was upgrade your damage, but I was still pretty happy with what I did for it. And it was certainly something. I think it's at least better than the Pit. I don't think it's a C tier, but I do think it's better than the Pit. Now next is a project that I'm very proud of. This was for the Boss Rush Jam in, I think, 2025 or 2024. I can't remember exactly. But this project, Ascension, was a really good project. However, there is a lot that I'm not exactly too happy with. There was a lot of bugs in the code, and some of the stuff didn't really work too well. And I think the reason for that is I was working with another programmer while doing this project, and it was okay. It was just kind of hard to communicate about mixing our code together, and we had to do some complicated stuff to get the code to each other so we could actually both work on it. It didn't really work too well, and I think for that reason, Ascension didn't really do too well. However, I did start working on a revamp where it's just me working on the game. But for now, the Jam version of Ascension is probably the lowest C tier, I'd say. And that is the Jamsters Archive tier list so far. Now, for any games where I said I pretty much abandoned it, or I'm just not too sure on continuing it, if you'd like to see me continue some of these games, or make even more content for them, or make videos about them, feel free to let me know in the comments. Because some of these games, well, a lot of these games I haven't finished. So, hey, if you want me to, just let me know, and I'll be sure to maybe make a video about it if a lot of people want it. And yeah, thank you for watching the Jamsters Archive tier list, and hope you guys have a good day.